Hello everyone, welcome to our Industry Talk at Associated Studios. So it's me, as always, Scott Harrison, and we've had a last minute change of the schedule, but it's actually been one of those really wonderful, fortunate things that we have just somebody so incredible who's just jumped in at the last moment, and we're so lucky to have him. I'd like to introduce you all to the incredible, wonderful artist that is Omar Okai. And
thank you very much.
You are very welcome. And can you just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you're up to?
I will. Yes. Well, the first bit is true. I am actually incredible and fabulous. I'll take that all day. So I am a director choreographer, and I used to be in the West End and do West End shows, probably way before many of your lovely young people's time. I did a lot of West End shows, and then I opened up a company with my then partner called Simon Collier. We're still good friends, called the Okai Collier Company. So from then I began directing and choreographing my own stuff because I wasn't really happy with what I was seeing coming onto the stage. So I thought, you know what? Instead of sitting there and being a busy moaning bee, do it yourself, which is a very good idea. People listening out there, do it yourself, don't moan.
Mm-hmm.
And I am also, since I've been choreographing around Europe when I was allowed to, now I can't because of Brexit. I've worked in Shanghai, directing there, choreographing there. I am also the co-director founder with Solange Erdang of the Erdang Academy of Britain's, probably Europe's actually, and I don't know if there's one in America, but it's the Black British Theatre Awards. We're in our third year now, and it was really hard last year. We had to do it during COVID, but we somehow did it. It was on Sky Arts. It'd be on Sky Arts somewhere still.
Yeah.
We did it. And then also, I mean, this year is going to be probably a lot harder, but we're going to do it still somehow. We don't know how. So any sponsors out there, hello, we're here. I'm also the, we've also launched a brand new initiative via the Black British Theatre Awards, and we're about to launch in the next week or so the Black Theatre and Film Global Directory.
Wow.
Which means that people of color, Black people, mixed ethnicity, obviously, can. It's free for the first year. There's no charge. So everybody, performers to every creative between film and theatre, which is makeup, hair, directing, choreographing, writing, LX, sound, all of that. You can put your profiles on, and it's much needed globally because, you know, there's a big cry out for people. Oh, I couldn't find somebody on my team to do this, or I couldn't find a Black this, and there's a big excuse because all you have to do really is just to ask and reach out, and people are there.
Yeah.
Because we do the Black British Theatre Awards, you know, in its third year, we have loads of people nominated, and they're nominated by the public, by a SALT theatre or SALT affiliated theatre. SALT theatre is Society of London Theatres. And so therefore we don't nominate them, the public nominate them. So if the public know they're there, and I think producers will.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good thing for everybody to have, not just for Black people to have. It's a really great source for everyone to get hold of.
Yeah, I think that's really great. I mean, definitely the Black British Theatre Awards, and definitely something that I want to talk about in more detail, maybe a bit later on. I'm sure there's going to be loads of questions about that. And if there is any of you that have any questions for Omar, then please head over to the Associated Studios Facebook page. That's at Associated Studios. You can type it in the box. I can see some questions coming in. We will be asking as many as possible. You can also watch this.
I'm not shy.
Yeah.
Ask any question. Ask any question. Don't try and be so PC and so polite. Just ask the question.
Yeah, I think that's
really good. It's just good to ask the question.
Absolutely. And we're also on Twitch as well, and I know there's some people watching on Twitch, so if you're wanting to ask questions as well, you can ask them on Twitch chat, and I will answer them. I'll definitely ask Omar to answer the questions on Twitch chat as well.
I'm also, at the moment, I've got to say, so I'm also resident associate director on the new musical coming out based on the film Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Amazing.
And we don't start rehearsal till June, and that starts touring in August, which is great. Fingers crossed. But I think why I'm mentioning this is because Michael Harrison and Disney are obviously producing it. And we have two great directors, Jamie and Candice, and they are directing, obviously, but they're making a really great, diverse creative team. But the casting is really, really diverse.
Amazing.
Really diverse.
Amazing.
I don't mean just with black and white, but lots of different genres for the casting. And I think that's the way theatre's got to start going. It has to start going that way.
I think the thing is that like it's silly to think that we inhibit stories by not being diverse. And something like Bedknobs and Broomsticks doesn't need to be full of white faces in order to tell a rich, diverse, wonderful, story full of great characters. And I think that's the thing.
If you see the original film, this is way back now, because Bedknobs and Broomsticks was like the same time as Mary Poppins sort of thing.
That's right, yeah.
If you see the original film, for any film of its time, let alone a Disney film, there's a scene in it called Portobello Road. Yes, Portobello, it's a bit, when you look at it now, it's a bit like, oh, it's a bit, that scene's a bit dated. But when you see the film, I hadn't seen a film as a child where I suddenly saw, in Portobello Road, it looks a bit naff now in that scene, but, where you see Black people dancing and Sikhs dancing, and they're all wearing army uniforms,
Yeah.
which means they're actually fighting for Britain,
That's right. Yeah.
right? And usually in a lot of stuff that happens within uh, history, it's kind of erased that Black people and Asian people and Chinese fought for Britain for whatever reason, because the colonies, I don't agree with colonies, don't get me wrong, but they did fight.
Yeah.
But in that film, it's very funny because in that one part of the film, you look at it, you sort of think, oh, it's a bit naff now. You think, what? Actually, they had made quite a big jump for that time.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite a big statement.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it now on a stage. It looks a bit odd, but that scene for the film was quite a big jump for a film of that time.
It's amazing to look back on things like that, actually, and realize that there clearly was people trying to kind of make a difference by creating scenes like that. Yeah. And it's really wonderful to see people like yourself, standing on the shoulders of those people and being able to kind of carry that line through. And I think that's really important for young performers that are maybe listening to this right now to realize that they are eventually going to be standing on your shoulders, carrying through the baton even further. And
well, this is the thing. I've had talks with young performers, young Black performers, white performers, but say Black performers, young ones, who you have to. There's a way to get things done,
mm-hmm.
and I realized I stood on the shoulders of people like Charles Organs. These are people who directed and choreographed me, way before my time, and most of my teachers. When I was at the place, in fact, all of my teachers at the place were all white.
Yeah.
I didn't have any Black teachers. I didn't have one Black teacher. But I had a lot of influence from other students. You know what I mean? So when I left, got into performing arts, and after I was a chef, I used to be a cuisine chef before that. But then a lot of those those people I now stand on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes you have to explain to young Black performers that it's not as easy as what you think. You know what I mean? I'm trying to pave a way for them to then take it, and then they take it further. Yeah. In the end, we haven't got to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
To the end, it's just this beautiful synergy, and it'll take a long time, but it is getting better.
Yeah. That's really good to hear. It's so nice to hear how positively you talk about it as well. I think that's really, really important. Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, so we've got questions flooding in, so I'm going to go on and ask some of them. So Sam Kennard is asked, how was it directing last 5 years? How did you find directing last 5 years in the middle of a pandemic with all the challenges that must have been involved?
Wow, that's a good question. So, okay. When I was asked to direct last 5 years, so first I'm going to start from the beginning very quickly. First of all, last 5 years, as you may know by Jason Robert Brown, we know it's a very clever story about a man and a wife, and she starts at the end of the marriage, and he starts at the top of the marriage, or I think, and they cross each other.
Yep.
But my thing was this, because the story is very, very Jewish faith based. And people don't seem to realize that. Mm-hmm. It's extremely Jewish faith-based. So to make the story real, if you're going to talk of a story of a people, which is like of a faith or a culture, and I'm a Black man, and I'm going to tell a Jewish story. Now, the thing is, people perceive Jewish people to look one way and to be one color. This is not right. This is not right. At the same time, I could not be in that room and tell that kind of heavily Jewish-based story without having Jewish voices in the room, because that means I'll be a hypocrite. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I cast Waylon Jacobs, who was in Hamilton and stuff. to play the role of Jamie, and Raylan is mixed race, black and white. And then I cast Emma Kingston to play Kathy, and Emma Kingston is Jewish, and that's the non-Jewish role. And then I said to the producers, I really need to have a fabulous, she can direct in her own right anyway, but she assisted me, a lady called Rebecca Wicking, who's also a fantastic performer, the voice of Goddess. But in the room, she's great. We worked so well together. And so having her with me in the room as a team, when it came to those fine things that I wanted to know about what it is to be, what are the stakes at hand, meaning a Jewish boy is marrying an Irish stock American girl. She is Catholic, he is Jewish, which means that if they do get married, that line of Judaism is then lost because she's not Jewish. So, and then in the 5 years, I realized that they never had any children. They never mentioned, no children. So what were the stakes? That's what I wanted to know, what the stakes were. I couldn't know the stakes unless I knew more about Judaism.
Yeah.
My godchildren are half Brazilian, half Jewish, but they're born here. So Rebecca worked with me, and she was an amazing voice in the room. I thought, I can't keep asking Emma, you're Jewish, what do I do? Yeah, that's not right. She's got a role to play, and it's a non-Jewish role. I want to let her be that person. And so when we rehearsed it in the room, two people, the designers, Andrew Exeter, and my fabulous stage manager, Eve Hawes, they designed in a way that we could, like it's two people, we kept them so separate from each other.
Yeah.
And them two became a bubble, but everything they touched was wiped down. So whenever they passed it on the stage, it was never touched again by the other person.
Yeah. It's very clever.
It was just fantastic. It was, and then we took this, when we took the whole set down to the Minack, it's a very magical place. In the daytime, the shows are great. When the sun starts setting, it's a magical. You can hear dolphins. So it is hard to do it in a pandemic, but it was in the open air, so it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
And it's like a big Grecian theatre, and everyone was like spaced 2 meters apart, unless you all got a family or your partners. It was beautiful, but I loved it. But I'm not going to say it's easy to direct in a pandemic. I directed Snoopy at Trinity Laban Conservatoire, and we did I directed 4 sets of 7 Snoopies, and the other director, Kylie, directed 4 sets of 7 casts of 7s, 8 Snoopies, and you have to really think off your feet, but you can do it.
Yeah,
you can do it.
Agreed. That's really great. It's so nice to hear that. It was one of those things, because I know Chris Passy really well as well. We've known each other for many years, and I really, it was one of those things. I was like, if it wasn't in a pandemic, I'd be on the first train to come and watch that production. But it was that kind of thing. That was just it was not something that was kind of possible, and it's just one
magical.
Yeah.
Because I had to literally send a paragraph via Emma Kingston's agent to Jason Robert Brown to say what was my reasoning in casting a Jewish girl in the non-Jewish role.
Yeah.
And I said, well, first of all, we're not. I need people in the room and in the cast who are Jewish. They haven't got to play a Jewish person.
Yeah.
They've got to play a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I need them in the room. I need that voice. It's not my culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he agreed. Yeah, they said yes, and it was fine. Yeah. And hopefully, I wish somebody next year would pick up this particular the set design and the way it was, not because I directed, the way it was put together, and bring it into London, not into the West End, but just into London.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Andrew Exeter's design was very unusual.
Yeah, the pictures made it look incredible. I mean, it just
very unusual, and it made a statement straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. It might be the one that we're talking about, but Alex John Armstrong asks, what's been the most ambitious project that you've ever worked on?
Oh gosh, the most ambitious.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Oh, gosh, that's a hard one. But I'm going to say it's really weird. It's not. It's not. It wasn't a giant project. No, it was a giant project. That's a lie. And it wasn't like a run. I worked on this show with young people from about 7 to 8 different schools, and it was a show that was put on at Greenwich, a whole massive, huge display. A couple of hundred students I directed, and it had a massive team, obviously a huge team, and it was put on just before the Olympics was announced in England, and it was in Greenwich Park, and it was huge. It was that big. We had to have walkie-talkies
Yeah.
and time it to get the kids to come over the hillside with they're like doing playing drums and stuff. It was massive. That's outside theatre. I think within theatre, I think my most ambitious thing to date to direct, really not even it's not particularly ambitious. It was in Shanghai, and it was how to do Peter Pan without the flying.
Okay. Okay, that's
To have that
interesting. Yeah.
illusion, and I did it. We did it,
Amazing. Well,
and that was that.
I'm not going to ask you to give away the secrets. People are just going to have to bring that production also to London and see for themselves, I think.
Yeah, it was no big deal. It was actually quite very simple. It was
Yeah.
like on a moving bed.
Ah,
Because
okay,
I
yeah.
said, if we can't fly the children, I said, is the flying real for them, or is it in their mind? How are we
Yeah.
going to do this?
Yeah.
And the audience never really thought about it.
I think that's great. It's great.
They just did it.
Brilliant. I love that. That's brilliant. And such a good story. It's kind of one of these stories. I think the thing is like a story like Peter Pan, it's so kind of ingrained in us, that we want to buy into it regardless of how spectacular it looks, because actually it's about the
We're all
quality of
children.
those people. Exactly. It kind of
Peter
reminds
Pan's
us of
about
being
being a
little
child and
kids.
staying a child.
Yeah.
And I'm a big child. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I can't defend.
Me too. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Tess asks, first of all, she says, thank you for being here. She says, do you have like a signature move or style or mark that you like to put in choreographic pieces when you choreograph something for a show?
That is so fun. Yeah, I do. And a lot of my friends they know I do it. And it's like an Omar slide. It's like a jazz. I can't explain. It's like a jazz slide. So if I'm going to slide towards my right, I slide towards my right, and I lift the right hand right over my head, and then I tilt towards the left.
Yeah.
And and the other way, and I do it in a complete box sometimes, but in a very kind of weaving them out of each other. It's understand, but also I'm quite because I train in contemporary dance as well at the place. I mix my dancing. Well, it has to make sense when I'm choreographing. I'm not going to go and choreograph a number. That just annoys me. It doesn't make any sense. Like 10 young dancers rushing on stage doing something. I don't know. But so I like to use contemporary dance as well. But I'm quite I suppose I like that Fosse-esque kind of look. Not Fosse dancing. I've been a Fosse dancer before, but I love that kind of style, the style that Fosse obviously has heavily influenced by black jazz. Obviously, it is black jazz that he's doing, and he's just slowed it all down. So I love that kind of thing, but I love the slides. And anybody who's worked with me before, they'll know I'm a very, very leggy choreographer. I'm 6 foot and I have a 34.5 inside leg. And even though I'm 56 in June, I'm 55 now, I'm a very leggy layout, choreographer.
Well,
I'm
you've
leggy,
got it.
leggy. I'm like Dolly Henry is the same.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous choreographer called Dolly Henry. She runs Body of People dance company called Bop. And she's Dolly scares me. I am scared to do Dolly's class. I used to go and watch her class at Pineapple, and smile and wave and then go.
Yeah. I hear her, sometimes in Laurie Grove I'll be teaching in the other room, and I can just hear the whimpers of the students, like working flat out all the time. Like they love it, the students love it, but just the kind of the energy that kind of comes from that room is
Well,
slightly terrifying.
sometimes I've taught sometimes, I've done like different workshops at Mount View and, just different places for dance and stuff. And sometimes the students think that you're pushing them too far when you're
Yeah.
choreographing or directing them. It's for all the schools, you know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
saying Mount View, I'm saying all the schools, and you want to say to them, this is when they're third years though. I always say, listen, you're third years now. It's Christmas. Just forget your students now. I'm sorry. You're going to be going out there now trying to get jobs. And when you're going to get these jobs, you can't go up to somebody and say, oh, this is just too hard. You're pushing me too hard. You're just not going to be there the next morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I say, we have to get a bit tough sometimes. We shouldn't have to get tough on the student. They need to get tough on themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't self-indulge. If you're listening, students, listen, don't self-indulge and say, so-and-so doesn't like me. Someone's pushing me too hard. Yes, they do like you. If someone's pushing you really hard, that means they like you.
It means they care. Yeah.
Yeah. And if they're not pushing you or taking care to look after you, that means you're lacking something. And if you're lacking something, do something to be seen.
It's so interesting you're saying this. In fact, today with the Associated Studio students, I was actually talking about the idea that it's not good enough to just have good technique. In fact, you've got to think about all the contexts that you're going to have to use your voice and your body at the same time.
Yep.
And kind of it's not just about preparing to kind of do a pirouette in a nice kind of like from a stationary position or kind of with a nice preparation in third. You've got to be prepared to do it on a wire, on a ceiling, in a pair of tap shoes, in an outdoor theatre in the cold, like
Anywhere.
while you're sick,
And also, if your school brings in, here's another little tip for you. I think I want the students to listen carefully to what I'm saying. When a school brings out an outside practitioner, yes, we are obviously going to take, I hate bullying. So we're going to look after you, and look after your mental health. Of course we are.
Mm.
But remember, it's an outside practitioner. But if you're a third year, first and second year is a bit less. If you're a third year, we're usually there to try and bring you up to speed of what's going to be happening outside. For you to get upset and say, oh, it's really hard, that's no good. Or be careful how you talk to the outside practitioner, because they are not your teacher.
Yeah.
When you get a stroppy fit or something, they go, okay, we'll discuss it in office. But a practitioner has the choice to say no, or they can just go and say, I'm not doing the job, here's your money back to the school.
Yeah.
Right? Remember, you are probably going to see that practitioner at some point, if you're lucky, behind a table for a show. And that practitioner will say, you know what? I worked with this fabulous student in dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum at this school, and bring them in, which is exactly what I've done for Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
Amazing.
And some of them, I'm not going to say what school they went to, because all the schools are good, but there's one or two of them that have got through to the recalls.
Brilliant.
Why? Because I worked with them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one long audition, people.
That's a really good piece of advice. Really good piece of advice. Okay, next question. What would be so lots about all the different kind of projects that you've done. We've had ambitious project. We've had obviously difficult pandemic project. What would be your dream project to work on?
Well, I can't even discuss this. I think I can. I've done one of my dream projects. There's a show from the 70s called Pearly, an American show, and my theatre company, we put it on at the Bridewell years ago. Very, very good production. Really proud of it. It was designed, by Kate and Carl, who run the Brockley Jack Theatre. Stunning set. Michael Brown was in it. Michael Brown is Sunita's mummy. We had a really, really, really great cast, a fabulous cast. My choreographer was a man called Michael Rand, who's resident and associate at Starlight Express in Bochum in Germany.
That's right, yeah.
He was trained up by Arnie Phillips, and he's a wonderful person as well. So was a gospel type show called Pearly. And the other show that is my dream show is The Wiz.
Oh, wonderful.
That's one of my dream shows.
Incredible show. Such incredible music. Just fabulous. Absolutely fabulous show.
Another dream show I've directed and choreographed several times is the show I did when I was young, was Five Guys Named Mo. So I've done that one. So it's lovely. I've choreographed Rent. Well, I'd like to direct Rent one day though as well.
Yeah. I love that. I love every time you see productions like Rent, they're always very, very different from each other. That's what I love about shows like that. In fact, Five Guys Named Mo is very similar in that way. Like, people think that it kind of is one thing, but actually it's very much about the people that are in it. And I've occasionally seen little productions of it, and it's all about the kind of the personal influences that the artists bring to the roles. And
be fearless for that show though, for Five Guys. You can't hide behind anything. You've got to be fearless there. Yeah. And sometimes you suddenly talk out of the box, because who knows what can happen.
Exactly. This is a question from Lisa. She says, thank you so much for coming in at the last minute to chat to us. She was wondering what your thoughts are on the future of the industry. Do you think this pandemic is going to influence on the changing this industry for the better, especially in terms of things like diversifying the industry and casting and so on?
Right, I have this question quite a lot. So when the pandemic started, people go, when theatre comes back, we're all going to be together, and there'll be rainbows, and there'll be snow and raindrops and all this stuff and glitter. And I said, no, that's not it. The pandemic won't change people. People change people.
Yeah.
A pandemic won't change people.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Everyone's going, will theatre ever get back? So here's my thing is, first of all, we have to stop saying that this is the norm. I'm sick of people saying, this is the norm now. No, it's not the norm. It's been a year or a year and a half. It's not the norm. You know what I mean? Theatre's been going for hundreds of years. This is not the norm. When there was a war, shows stopped for a while. That wasn't the norm. It was a war. So if you keep perpetuating this thing of this is how it's going to be, it's never going to go back to it. Well, it never will do then. So that's not how my brain works. Now, the whole diverse thing, it is getting better. It's getting better on stage, obviously. But it's creepingly getting better. It's not the it's the off stage. It's the creative teams off stage, being part of, whether you're Black or Chinese or Jewish or Asian or whatever you are, or Irish. Even if you're a Cockney person, you want to tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want someone else to tell you. You want to at least be part of it. That needs to change, and it will, and it is. But people have to stop thinking. There's a thing that people used to say to me when I was younger, and I thought, this is rubbish. They say, yeah, but it's the best one for the job. And I used to go, okay. So we're up for, say, Sweet Charity. I was in Sweet Charity, and there was me, Nicola Hughes, Colin Roy. There's another guy who then, I can't remember, he went off to play, he was the first Mufasa in The Lion King. He left to go and play for Mufasa. I can't remember his name, sorry.
Rachel. Was he the first Mufasa?
No, not Rachel. No. The first Mufasa.
Okay.
Wasn't Rachel. I can't remember his name. Okay. It wasn't Rachel. He was in Sweet Charity with me. Anyway, he's now in Hollywood. And people were saying, well, I said, well, it's not very diverse, is it? We didn't really say diverse then. It's not really mixed. I said, yeah, but it's the best one for the job. And I said, no, that's not the best one for the job. I said, if you open the door and look at the CV and say, let's see these people, then they're in the door, then that's the best one for the job.
Yeah.
But if you won't let people in through the door, it's not the best one for the job. That's the ones you want to see for that job. Whereas for Benders and Broomsticks, it literally is the best one for the job. I know, I'm on the team.
Yeah.
And Will Green's on the team. And we're all everyone's watching closely. The directors are all working together. All of us are. Everybody is. So it isn't the best one for the job just because that's what you see on the stage.
Yeah.
That's who they want in the job.
Yeah.
It's not. It's the best one. It's the best one who gets into the room to be seen for the best one for the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when someone says to you, whether you're black, white, a female, a male, oh, it's best one for the job. You have to question it. Right? Was it the best one for the job, or should I even get my foot through the front door?
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Because if you're, I don't really see many. I don't know many female directors even. I don't know any black directors in the West End. Anybody black anyway? Don't know
Yeah.
anybody yet. But I get there, and I don't know anybody. But I don't know any female really. Not really. Well, I know one or two who get there every sort of decade. There's one. People say, "Oh, it's the best one." It's like, no, it's not the best one for the job. It's because it's male orientated. So
Yeah.
people see what they want to see, and they see what they want to see.
Yeah. No,
You know?
agreed. Agreed is, and it's tough, and I think we all have to share that responsibility as members of the community to make that change, because I remember, when I was a younger performer and kind of like seeing this, and somebody who is LGBT and somebody who is from a low socioeconomic background, even though I have white privilege and I was very lucky in many ways, there was many ways in which I was denied access to certain things that other people were, and I was othered in other ways, and kind of like I was seeing this happen in many different ways, many different communities, and saying to yourself, well, what can I do? What can I do? I don't have the money. I'm not a producer. I'm not the one making these decisions. And I think there comes a point where you've got to kind of go, well, actually, there is something I can do. Even if it's a case of like, continually saying, don't forget there actually are females out there who'd be fabulous directors, and there'll be, and there's fabulous people of color out there that absolutely want to tell diverse stories, but they're not getting their foot in the door, and it's about kind of like just allowing your voice to be kind of like heard with the privilege that it has, whether that's the privilege of experience in the industry and or the clout that you have in any kind of circle that you have, even if it's like, having a social media profile that that some people are going to see. And I think that it's a really kind of important thing for young people now to kind of to kind of make sure that they follow that through and kind of go, yeah, you do have power, you do have the ability
I
to
think that the
use it.
young people now, young people, especially young up and coming creators and performers, you
Yeah.
have to change that rhetoric. You've got to change it. You can't just sit there. I refuse to sit there and just go, oh, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm really angry. I
Yeah.
thought, actually, I'm quite fabulous. Why? Because my mum told me,
Yeah.
and that's all I need to know. And I thought, right. I was in a really awful show called Celestine Salsa at Watford Palace. It was a terrible show. We were all in it, and I thought, I'm going to go and do my own show now. So me and my then partner started our Okai Collier Theatre Company. We had
Yeah.
no idea, but we're still going. We still did it.
Yeah.
So do it yourself.
Amazing. Tim MacArthur says he loves your leggy dancing. So he's Tim MacArthur is there, and he says hello as well. So
Big kisses.
yeah. I've got another question from you. This one is from Becca. Hi Omar, so lovely to hear from you. Are there differences in the way you approach a show or a character when you are in the role of a performer and a role of a director and a role of a choreographer? When you're putting on those different hats, is there different ways that you think? Is it different processes, or is it a kind of integrated way that you connect with the piece?
Well, completely. There is, because I don't perform anymore. Not because I'm too old. I just like creating, and I like to see other people doing fabulous things. I like doing that. I've done my fabulous stuff, and I want other people to be fabulous. I'm not scared to step aside. But when I was a performer, I was never like a Shakespearean actor, or gosh, well, I'm going to do a lovely speech. No, I wasn't that good an actor. But what I was a really good. If you gave me a song and dance number, or that kind of quirky role in a musical or play, so I would have to. I didn't do method stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't do method. I haven't got to go and sit in a cold bath or walk through what cold water's like. I'm acting. I'm not that deep as an actor, trust me. But I would have to study my script over and over again, until I could actually step into that person,
Yeah.
but step out.
Yeah.
But step out. Because if you can't step out of that character and look back at the character, I don't care what you say, you're not an actor.
Agreed. Yeah.
If you cannot step into that character and step out of it, you're not an actor. You're just mimicking something over and over again. Now, when I'm directing, I get okay, it's going to sound really odd. I get slightly, and it's not in an offensive way because it's true. I get slightly a tiny bit, and I know this for a fact now. I get slightly bit on the what's the word? Oh God, on the spectrum a tiny bit. Something happens, and I didn't realize this till I'd seen myself on video, and someone said to me, "Have you been diagnosed?" And I said, "Well, no." And so when I see a script, what happens is I read the script, and then it's really weird. Everything I can see everything in the script happening all at once, and then I have to slow myself down, and then I've got to get into every single character. And I have an awful thing when I'm directing, especially intimate scenes, that I can't help it. So I have to sort of kneel down and sit between the two characters as they're talking. And someone said to me, it's a bit unnerving. They say, Omar, what are you looking for? And I realized I have to look at the other person is doing while the other person is speaking. I have to look at your eyes, and it's something to do with the eyes. And if your eyes are dead, I know you're not even involved in what's happening.
Interesting.
So that's how I direct. I have to direct from truth. And the truth is not like somebody sort of making big, bold gestures. It's just looking at their face. Their face is like, to me, is so minuscule, the little things the face can do. And I can detect it. So I can't sit behind a table directing. I can't stand there waving the script. I've got to get right in there, really close up, to see if they're in it. And I like my actors to feel, and when I feel it's getting too pressurized, I stop and make a joke.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't pressure people. When directors, if you're listening out there, it's really not nice to bully actors to get them to do things. You're just bullying. Don't force people, because actors are not animals. Well, we're all animals, but they're not robots. We're human. And I've been bullied before. Well, they would try to bully me. It didn't really work. But don't bully actors. And when I choreograph, it's slightly different because it's more fluid. And if a dancer can't get something, I just ask them why, what can I do to change it? I don't try and force them to do something. But I won't change it straight away, because that's defeating the object for everybody. Even if you can't learn to do 3 pirouettes at once, you can learn probably in 6 weeks. And movement and dancing to me are the same thing. Walking around a chair is dancing. Doing three pirouettes is dancing.
Yeah.
And that's not less. That doesn't. You haven't got to be a dancer with 2 legs. You haven't got to be able to walk. Do you know what I mean? You haven't got to be able-bodied to dance. That's just a myth. Absolute a load of rubbish. And I've heard people say, "Oh, I can't do it because I didn't want to become a dancer." I'm saying, no. That's just an excuse.
Yep.
Get out of your head. Someone's told you that. Drop it.
I love that.
A friend of mine he's an amazing actor. He was in he does stuff for Grey Eye. He's profoundly deaf. He's got an amazing deaf speaking voice, and he's an amazing actor. He can't dance, no way. But he can act.
I tell you what, I don't know if you know about this, but the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland actually runs a BA in acting with British Sign Language. And they have they've been running for a good couple of years now, and it's one of the most wonderful courses, and they create the most incredible pieces because these amazing artists have to think outside the box. You know, how do we communicate with both people who can hear and people who have to kind of communicate through different means or be able to kind of see communication in different ways? And so they just constantly push the boundaries of ways to kind of talk to each other and show things on stage that other people don't necessarily think of. It's an incredible thing to see.
Even the best actors, the best performers, could be the best massive West End stars.
Yeah.
They all have their anxieties. And I've seen those people vomiting in buckets, terrified to go on stage. I mean, scared they can't sing. Everybody has some kind of, I don't want to say disability, but everyone's got hidden things that we don't see.
Yep.
Some disabilities you can see, and some things that stop us you can't see.
Yeah.
And as a choreographer and a director, that's what you have to look out for first in your performers.
Yeah.
Then you get a smooth running. It'd be great.
Yeah, same as a teacher as well. It's the first thing we
yeah.
have to, and I know you know that too. So, yeah, this is a kind of I guess it's a long question, but I'm going to say it all anyway. So this comes from our MA student Reese McKenzie. And Risa says, "Hello Omar, thank you for taking the time out today. I'm a master's student at Associated Studios. I'm half Jamaican and half Indian, and my dissertation project is based around the black male voice and performance as well as in life. I was hoping, if it isn't too personal a question to ask, I was wondering if you have any insight on how you broke into the industry and found your voice as a black man. I myself am still discovering my voice on and off stage and having a whole different life of experience to me. I'm curious as to what your personal journey is." He says, "Thank you, and you're amazing."
Rough. Thank you. And I am amazing. No, I'm going to tell you something first of all. When people who are of mixed ethnicity, black or brown people, let's just say that for now, because that's what the person is. For some reason, it happens a lot. You can be sometimes told by people who are other than you that it's going to be difficult for you to fit in. Now, they may not actually say it like that, but it will be. Let's just take the singing voice. Let's just say the actual singing voice, literally the singing voice. People say, "Oh, well, it's not a legit voice, is it?" And then I say, "Okay, legit voice for who?" What people mean by legit voice, singing teachers, not to be rude to any of you, when you say a legit voice, you usually mean the white approach of singing for theatre or pop. That is, whether you know it or not, that is what you mean. So it was not a legit voice. Legit for who? For what culture? For what facial structure? For what head structure? What mouth structure? What culture? What do you mean by that? And I've always challenged that. I had a great teacher, a Scottish actually opera singer, and she taught me that there's no as a legit voice. That's just a word people say.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's you fit into this category. So it isn't difficult when you're of mixed ethnicity, black and Indian, black and Chinese. It's not difficult. You mustn't allow people to make it difficult for you. You have to speak up. You haven't got to be rude. You have to speak up every single time and question. And if the person you're questioning is getting annoyed with you, that means they don't know the answer. If they don't know the answer, you have to make sure they go and, especially if they're teaching you, they have to go and get the answer.
Agreed.
As a student, if you bring them the answer, it's pretty bad for them. If they don't know the answer, you should both go and find it together. It doesn't stop you in the industry from working or finding your voice. It just does not. What you have to do is this, and I keep saying this. You have to always make sure that if you feel that you cannot get to eat at someone's table, my friend Kenneth Tharp said this, and I love this. If you cannot get to eat at someone's table, you don't wait around to be asked to eat at someone's table. You do what I did, Solanjan Erdang and I did, or what I did with Okai Collier Company. You go and get your own pieces of wood, and you make your own table, and you find your own ingredients, and you eat at your table, and you invite your people to your table. You don't have to wait around to find your voice in the industry. You have your voice in the industry. Now, if you're going to wait around to be told how to speak in the industry, or when to speak, or when to move, that is never going to happen. Never. You've got a beautiful voice, open your mouth and speak what you want. If not, start creating. And that's what I did.
I love that.
Don't wait around. It's not going to happen straight away.
Yep.
And also, You're black and Asian, did you say?
Indian.
Indian, sorry, very sorry, my mistake. Indian. Well, therefore, you must be obviously have a stunning voice because you've got such amazing cultures in you.
He
And
does
as a
have an
person, you
amazing
must.
voice. I'm just going to speak on his behalf here because obviously I know his voice as one of his
There
teachers.
you go. So
Fabulous
therefore, as a
voice.
person, you're already rich in culture, aren't you? He's rich in, so you don't need to wait around. I didn't wait around not 1 minute, and I'm 55 now, and I'm still not waiting around. Hence, we started the Black British Theatre Awards. That's why we did it.
Yeah. So can I ask you a question? This is from me. Obviously, you say you're in the third year now, so kind of your freshman years are behind you, as it were, and it's kind of like into kind of the real nitty gritty of probably what it was you really want to try and achieve with it. How do you feel what do you feel about the impact that you've made so far? And has there been anything particularly that surprised you in terms of the outcomes that has happened since you have started the awards?
Yeah, well, I will still say we'll be in the freshman year for the next couple of years. Yeah, people are slowly engaging in it. Even the Sky TV, they're slowly. We need it to be. We need it to be also like on a channel which is really not so much about the art,
Yeah.
but for everyone out there to see. Anyone's listening, hello. Um, but I'm going to tell you a story. It's quite a long way to go. We're trying. On Twitter, I've been called a racist so many times on Twitter. How that works out, I don't know. But and I've been also been, you know, had the butt for many. These are performers. These are from other fellow actors. And one girl said to me, "Well, you're also a racist then, because you're saying the Black British Theatre was just for black people." I said, "Well, let me just stop you a moment." I said, she goes, "So I can't be part of that, can I?" I said, "You don't need to be part of it." I said, "You don't need to be part of it." I said, you have Olivier Awards is very white orientated. I said, "What's on stage awards?" I said, I'm not about people who are on the stage. I mean, right across the board. I said, "You've got lots of award ceremonies which are geared up for you. They're geared up for you. Whatever you think, they're geared up for you." I said, "So you're saying that because I'm doing a Black British Theatre Award, that is racist because you can't be part of it?" I said, "Why do you think we had to do this?" I said, "How on earth am I ever going to, Solange and I, sorry, and the whole team, by the way, is female, which is fabulous. And that's not being patronising. I just mostly work with women. That's just how I am. But how on earth? So you're saying that? So we shouldn't try to illuminate, elevate black creatives in Britain. We have to wait for what?
Yeah.
What am I waiting for? Well, that means you're just defeating the object. That's not defeating the object at all. I said, I am black, and we are black, and black and mixed ethnicity, and we would like to put the playing field equal. You can't get an equal playing field if we can't even get seen or honored. So why is that racist?
Yeah.
They didn't get it. She didn't get, well, that's racist and I can't be part of that. I said, you don't need to be part of it. You already have it. The whole of the theatre society is geared up for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's geared up for you. I'm not saying good or bad, but it's geared up for you. So somehow we've got to try and open that door and say, look, we are also here. And because of that, what's happened in a very lovely way is that, a lot of other factions of British, like Asian theatre, Chinese theatre, Indian theatre, sorry, Jewish theatre, who are British, have also, we should be doing this. So there's nothing wrong with it.
Agreed. I think from from everything that I've seen, I think it's an absolute and amazing, incredible force for good, and giving highlight to artists and creatives that are often completely left unsung. You know, it's. I don't think representation's about just having somebody in your cast. I think you're right when you say that. I think it's about kind of realizing that their contribution is, just as valid by.
But this is what we do. I think we do a lot of our awards are called recognition awards. It's because we have to kind of go back first and honor those people who are still alive. Lots of them, you don't even get a look in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, I can't remember his name. I've got so bad names sometimes. But the follow spot guy, and I know you got an Olivier Award, got a BBTA as well. A black follow spot guy who did Sammy Davis Jr., Judy Garland, all of them. Never ever hardly, only because Andrew Lloyd Webber honoured him, but
Yeah.
nobody else did.
That's right. Yeah.
Nobody else did.
Yep.
And there's people who've choreographed and directed over here for years and never get a look in.
Yep.
Never got a look in. Never even got a nomination for anything.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm not knocking the Olivier Award. I'm not knocking anybody's award ceremony. I'm just saying that the Black British Theatre Awards is trying to correct that.
Yeah.
But it's good for schools, isn't it? When someone leaves a school and they win a Black British Theatre Awards for best newcomer of that year, it's great for the school when the award gets it. But now I want to see if these shows where people have won the National Theatre, you won something, the So-and-Sos, and me and Juliet have won, all these shows that have won Black British Theatre Awards, are they now going to put it on their posters?
That would be the interesting thing, won't it? That would be the.
Yeah, that's where you know that they're really getting involved properly.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to sit. It's like, are you going to now sort of say, right, actually, this is important for theatre, is a good selling point. For another demographic, it's a great selling point. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. Agreed. So where do you see the awards being in, maybe 10 years time, for example? What would you kind of hope to achieve, or where would you hope for us to be, in a decade from now?
A decade from now, I think it should be still running. Obviously, people seem to think it's about that we're making lots of money, we're incredibly rich. London it's doing all. It's like no, that it's just not like that. It's a lot of hard work from an amazing team behind us and a fantastic team. In 10 years' time, I like to see it still going. I don't mind if it's on television or not on television, as long as that we are still honouring people.
Yep.
Honouring people. The interesting thing was we were on Sky before the Olivier Awards that last year was on, and it was just a stark difference of if all these people in this theatre, Black British Theatre, was also SALT and also Olivier's are. The difference in diversity was ridiculous.
Wow. Okay.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why is it happening?
Yeah.
It's why. I don't want to say in 10 years' time, why is this still happening? I want to say, listen, it's happening. It's great. We're all equal now, and it's fabulous. We can all for producers, it's good for producers, it's good for schools, it's good for everybody in theatre to honour each other.
Agreed.
And the thing is, it's Black British. It's a really big word, Black British.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're here. Do you know what I mean?
Agreed.
We're not going anywhere, and we bring. And also in theatre, people must understand something. In musicals, let's say musicals for now, right? Every genre in musical you look at, every dance style, contemporary dance, tap, not ballet, contemporary dance, tap, jazz, the way of vocal singing, the way of rhythm, the way rock and roll, blues is used, everything in theatre almost is always Black culturally based.
Yep.
And I think if you want to use those things, and it's fact, everyone should be able to use whatever you want to do, but you have to let other people come to your table to use it as well.
Agreed.
That's all it is. So, do you want to go and see? You're Scottish, okay?
I am Scottish, yeah.
Right. Would you want to go and see a Scottish play, like a Scottish play? In that play, no one's Scottish, and the creative team, no one's Scottish. It's like going to see Dancing at Lunasa, an Irish play, and I've seen it, and no one's Irish in it. You kind of think, what?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I think yeah, I think it's interesting. You know, like we like to talk about our industry as being a community and being a family, and I think what we need to realize is that, you know, we're as a community, as a society within a society, we're only as strong as each other. And therefore, it's not about winners and losers. You know, even though even we're talking about an award show, you know, it's actually not about winners and losers. It's about the fact that, like, if the BTAs win, everybody wins. You know,
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
that's the main thing we need to realize about it all, isn't it? It's
That's
that
it. When the BTAs are there, they're good for everybody.
yeah,
It's not good for skin, it's good for everybody.
yeah,
It's great.
yeah,
It's fantastic. It's a wonderful thing.
yeah. Agreed. Agreed. I just want to first of all say thank you so much for coming and talking
Are we
to us.
finished?
We are, but it's been an hour now, so I don't want to take up any
Oh
more of
God,
your
half the
time.
door.
But
Come on, fine. I'm
okay,
fine. Don't worry about that.
if there's any more questions out there, please get them in and ask. People tend to kind of stop asking questions after an hour because I always go, oh, well, there's so many questions and I can't answer them all in time. But if you've got any more questions, people, please put them into the chat box. But yeah, and again, if you're on Twitch, if you're watching on Twitch, please type into Twitch chat, come and chat to us, ask us questions. Okay, I've got another one from me then, while I'm kind of waiting on a question or two coming in. I'm really interested in, obviously I've been kind of, you know, your Facebook friend for a while, and we worked together at Trinity, and you know, and during the past year, during the re-emergence, I think it's really important to make people realise that it's a re-emergence of the Black Lives Matter movement, and it wasn't just invented in March.
As a hashtag.
Yeah, and you know, and one of the things that I think is really incredible, and something that I've seen you do is really kind of like use your kind of like voice as an artist as well as kind of like just and because, you know, being an artist, you're an expert with words, you're an expert with being able to put your point across. I think is very obvious from the way you've been talking today. Do you think that there's a kind of a correlation between being an artist and being an activist, and do you think that both of those parts of your identity are kind of equally important and feed each other in interesting ways?
I think every single artist, I'll stick to theatre, right? Whether you're performing or creating, and as a gay black man, I think it's literally instilled in me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go a bit further back quickly. My aunt, Louisa Lala, she died of cancer many years when I was very young, but she was a hippie. Now, not the hippie you think you see today in Camden. She was an actual hippie.
Yeah.
Like, I am a hippie. I'm flying in the sky. She was a hippie, right? So she said to me when I was she said to me, look, Omar, you know, she says, one thing you've got to do is she said, never follow sheep. And I was like, you don't follow sheep. So what the hell does that mean? Because you follow sheep go to the slaughter, which was not nice to say to a 7-year-old boy, but I was like, oh my God. And then I got it. The reason why I think creative people, this is why a lot of my friends who are creative or performers are in the pandemic are getting lost, because instead of using their voice to say what's going on with Black Lives Matter or gender inequalities, they've come to a standstill because they're so used to like being told what to do. And I always think you have to use your voice. So I try to use my voice on my media. I try to use my voice when I'm directing things. You may not always know it, you may not always see it, but you'll tap into it. I try to use my voice, and there's no difference between, to me, being an activist and being a creative person. Because a good creative person, I don't care what you do, you're always going to be an activist in some way.
Yeah.
In some way, you're going to get some kind of, I'm not saying you're going to be heavy-handed, like, you know, I'm gay, shut up, do as I say. That isn't it, right? Even though I do say that sometimes. But I think I think a lot of people who are creators have a voice, and maybe you don't even know that you're doing it and you're creating. But most creators and most actors are activists. And I'm going to say, a lot of the young actors now, I've taught and I've seen, they're really, I love it. They're like really militant within their work, and they're not scared. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
You can't be like, but militant doesn't mean that you've got to be harsh and rude and think that your opinion is the only opinion, and so and so doesn't like me because I am A, B, or C. So I'm going to fight back and get really angry. You're going to work out sometimes, be a clever militant, work out why that person doesn't like you. You usually find the one who doesn't like you doesn't even know why they don't like you.
Yeah.
They don't even know why they don't like you if you're gay, or why they don't like you because you're Jewish or Scottish or Irish or black or white or this, whatever. They don't really know. It's just because you're the other.
Yeah.
You're the other. But they don't really realize that they're also the other. So actually, we're all the other to the other.
Yeah.
If you're a good activist, you can actually get those points across.
Yeah.
You can be a tough activist. You can make people realize that actually their argument they're making against you because of who or what you are, they usually don't know what you are. They don't know.
Yeah.
And partly it's just fear. They don't know what you are.
Yeah.
You know? They tap into the media now and they go, oh, well, gay people do this, or, the Chinese have done this, and oh my God, don't trust the Scottish, do you know what I mean? Because they don't really know.
Yeah.
And good activists can get around all that and get right to the nitty gritty.
And like,
For that person.
yeah, and I suppose that's where you as an artist comes in, because that's the whole point. And what we do is find ways to communicate and tell that story, and that's why what you're saying about representation is important, and diverse casting and having somebody Jewish in the room to explain that culture. That's why that's important. I think what you've just said there underpins everything else that you've said, and I think it's really, really important for people listening to realize.
In fact, one little thing. I just talked to a guy at the University of Wales, a degree student, second year degree student, and they had a little talk with them for 2 hours the other day, seminar, really good seminar, it was great. There's one guy, fabulous guy, he's Welsh speaking, he's mixed ethnicity, he's black and mixed, and he's Welsh speaking, and I'm going to get him a mentor, and his head of year is really great, fantastic guy. I said, I'm going to get him a mentor. I said, the mentor I found him, hopefully be right. She says she's black, and she's Welsh. And I said, because it can't just be somebody who is just black.
Yeah.
I've got to get somebody who understands where he comes from, how he feels, because she's gone through it. She won a Black British Theatre Awards last year. I thought, so that's where it is. And mentors, there's the way to go for students sometimes. So chat once a month on email, how you doing? I feel like this, or what should I do here? Mentors are really great.
Yeah.
The Black British Theatre Awards, we do mentorships, we do outreach every year as well for young people.
Amazing.
I think from 12 upwards.
Amazing.
Once a year. Really good.
I'm going to make sure I get any kind of details so that people, if anybody's watching, can kind of get in touch with you at the Black British Theatre Awards. You've got a website, right?
We've got a website, or there's Omar at blackbritishtheatreawards.com. They can always contact me there.
Wonderful.
I'm very good at getting back to people or put you in touch with the right person to speak to.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'll reiterate that. I'll put all the links and all your socials and
remember,
stuff on the.
Any of you black or mixed ethnicity people, students who are about to leave, or anybody you really must put onto your profile, onto that, join the profile. You must join the Black Theatre and Film Directory. Global directory it is. It's global.
I will make sure.
Teachers, everything, everybody.
Yeah. I will make sure I spread that around to as many people as possible as well. I think that's a really important resource there, and an amazing job that you're doing. We've got 2 more questions, and then I'll let you go. So Georgia says, what are some tips that you would give someone who wants to get into the directing side of the industry?
Right, let me tell you this, Georgia. You can go to, you can do a degree in directing. You can go and see every play in directing. You can, but what you need to do is this. Get off your butt, email people and ask, can I please come along for a day and observe you? Can I please be the person that ushers people into the room in auditions? Can I please be the person that is going to be the reader for auditions? Can I sit with you whilst you're directing and I won't say a word, I'll just watch and I'll make a cup of tea for you? Can I just watch? That's the first time to get into it. Don't think you're going to get there and say, right, I'm going to direct a play, therefore I'm now director. You're not. You're a person who got a script and you made people move around in the right way with the script. Directing to me is, a large amount of it is psychology for each person individually. Then you have the script. To get into it, you've got to get into that room and work with people. Yeah. I have people sometimes work with me, they sit next to me, they used to be able to sit next to me, not anymore, but in the room and observe. Ask questions, ask. Get your friends, get 2 or 3 friends, get a 2-hander play, get some scenes, start directing your friends in scenes now, whether you're a student or not. Start doing it now. It's not hard to even to go on Zoom now and do that.
Yep.
It's easy. Start doing it. There's no other way to do it. You've got to start doing it. That's the way to get into it.
Yep. Brilliant advice.
Think our industry is going to be dead. It's not dead. And it's not the norm. Let's all stop that now.
Yep, agreed.
It's so hard for shows to come back. No, they're coming back. Let's just get off that jag.
Yep, agree with all of that. And Paul asks, he says, thank you so much for talking to us. In your opinion, as a choreographer or director, what makes a performer stand out in a dance audition when their dance isn't the strongest ability?
That's a good,
that's a good one.
Because listen, there's 2 different things in dance ability. Now, one is technique. You can have the most amazing technique. I'm going to give Darcy Barsow has the most amazing technique to me, but she's very boring. I don't know if you know her. I don't care if you know her. I don't care if she's your auntie, whatever. She's got the most amazing, beautiful technique, but she's very boring to watch. Now, I've seen people who have not got the most amazing technique in an audition, but full well that person in the room is going to bring it in that room. And by the time those 6 weeks or 4 weeks is up, they're going to have those routines down pat. They're going to work really hard and they're going to progress from where they are in the studio, where some of the great technique will do exactly what you want them to do. And they'll smile on cue and kick on cue. And that's it.
Yep.
That does not make a dancer. And that doesn't, to me, as a choreographer, that does not excite me.
Yeah.
Now, if someone comes in, they think, well, you can do 2 pirouettes, but you've got something going on there. You're working your guts off and you're making me want to get up and dance with you. I think, in 6 weeks' time or 4 weeks, you're going to get this. Whereas if you're already fabulous coming and dancing and that's all you bring and you just stay exactly where you are, you're not fabulous anymore. You're boring.
Yeah.
Come in being on it and excited, and by the time you get to the end of 6 weeks, you're going to be fabulous and fantastic.
Yep. It's really, really great advice.
One more thing. Don't let anybody ever tell you, and this happens, and teachers, if you're listening, teachers, listen up. Just listen up and don't tut, because some of you are older than me and some of you are younger than me. And some of you are very much younger than me. I don't care if you like what I'm saying or not. Do not bully people in the class because they're not the best dancer. If they're not the best dancer and you can't improve them in 1 year, you failed, not that student. Remember that.
Yep.
So students, never let a teacher tell you that you can't. Ask them how. When they still say, well, you can't, ask them how. If they can't even get you to another level, then they failed. You haven't failed.
Yep, agree with that 100%. 100%. I was talking to a young teacher yesterday, actually, and they were a young singing teacher, and they gave a lovely workshop. In fact, I think you know him, Keir Ogilvie, and he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my gosh. Here,
yeah,
at Mount, I choreographed him.
yeah.
He is he teaching for you?
No, 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 not for us. He did. I'm running a charity. I'm the
Oh,
vice chair of a charity. We've just started our first fundraiser. It's the Scottish Theatre Alliance for growing education and diversity. And
fabulous.
we are, yeah, and so Keir donated his time to run a little workship for us,
The
and
best.
and
The
I
best.
yeah, and he was wonderful. He was so lovely, and we were talking afterwards, and I was teaching at Mount View and GSA when I was 21, so I was very
Wow.
young, and so and kind of I remember we were talking. It was and so when I was speaking to Keir afterwards, I said, it was really wonderful, and he said, I was kind of terrified when you kind of popped your head into the Zoom meeting and stuff, and I says, look, I said, you need to realize, that like now that you're on the other side of it, there's going to be so many people that tells you, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't. I said, you've got to be the one that says, yes, you can. And I said, and I'm here to back you up every step of the way. And I think, I don't think we do our job as teachers or facilitators or directors if we're not holding each other up. Like I said, we're all part of the same family, right? And we've got to look out for each other because we're only as strong as our weakest member. So we bring everybody else up, and everybody's a winner. There are no losers. So
Kia is wonderful. Dude, it's
yeah,
one. I mean, but Kia, when I worked with I can't. Oh my god, I might have dropped the surname. Our director Maria. Oh my gosh, I dropped her surname. That's awful. She's an
Maria,
old lady. Oh my god. Anyway, she
sure,
directed. She directed Assassins at Mount View, and she was a wonderful director. And I forget her name. I'm really bad, and I feel really awful. But anyway, but Kia, we had to all give these speeches about different assassins, and they all did. And me, Maria, and I sat down, and because I felt quite thick by that point, I was only choreographing. But Kia gave this like a seminar almost, like this assassin and why and what was going on at the time and the politics, and it was just so flawless
yeah,
that we had to stop and have lunch after that because it was flawless.
yeah,
And I met him. We met in the park a few months back. We chatted, walking around, and I know he's what 20 something.
yeah. I think he's 21, 22.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not. He
yeah,
has got more going for him. It was like I was talking to somebody like in their 40s
yeah.
who's very seasoned. I went, wow, that's just one person I would trust with a class.
Yeah, no, I agreed. It was really wonderful, and so I think all the students that are maybe watching this, like, the remember also the person that tells you no the most is yourself, and you've got to change that first. And if
Yeah.
my first piece of advice when people ask me, they often ask me, Scott, how do you become a teacher? Get up and go do it. Go try it out. Go like you just said with directing, get a couple of friends, like give them some free lessons, try some stuff out, ask for feedback, just
Yeah.
take the dive and give it a go. And I think that's is super important.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't find a studio. Okay, when the lockdown's done, go and find a park.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. Go and find a space, a script, and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do it.
Agreed.
You know.
I think that's a wonderful place to finish on, Omar. Honestly,
Fabulous.
I'm so thrilled that you were
That's
able
right.
to do this with us. It was really wonderful. So thank you so much. And I say thank you on behalf of everybody watching as well, both on Twitch and on Facebook, which has been really great.
So when they watch this one, can they see both the faces?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, so I'll send you the link to it afterwards, and you'll be able to kind of like see how it all looks. It's a bit more fancy than just our
I'm now eating a
chat.
bounty,
There
just
you
so
go.
you know, and a health drink.
Yeah, you deserve both. You deserve both.
But it's been fun, guys.
But everybody is saying thank you so much. I've had such a great time talking to you as always. Stay safe, and we all look forward to seeing Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I think everybody's going to be buying tickets for that.
There's some great directors, I'm telling you, and a great
Yeah.
team.
And I no doubt after this, all the students will be asking us to bring you into Associated to kind of maybe do some work with them and meet them all face to face. And I'm sure that we would love that if you had time. So
Brilliant.
So we'll get in touch with you about that as well. But again, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody that's been watching for all of the great questions today. They've been really, really interesting. Next week is kind of like very, very different. We've had Omar. We've had some really, really different people in. So we had the wonderful Nathaniel Morrison in week one. Yeah. So Nathaniel came on and was talking.
He's a cutie.
Yeah, wonderful. And then the week after that, we had the amazing Nick Ollett as well, the managing director of Cameron Macintosh.
Nick, yeah.
And then we had the wonderful composer Gus Gowland as well, who is writing loads of LGBT material and was telling us all about that wonderful work that he was doing. And we've obviously had you.
What's his name?
Gus Gowland. Yeah.
Can you send me his details?
I absolutely will. He really, really incredible. And you can watch the chat back as well. It was really wonderful. And next week we have somebody very different again. And it's very interesting that we've been talking a little bit about, using your voice, speaking up, the idea of representation, the idea of inclusion and actually diversity of storytelling, having people in the room. Next week we have the most incredible person from America that I know. She's called Sherry Sanders. She's a Broadway vocal coach and performance coach. She wrote the book Rock the Edition, and she has created the Rock the Edition courses. She's just released a new version of Rock the Edition yesterday, which I've already purchased. You can get it as an ebook, and it is basically a collaboration with lots of different parts from different communities in Broadway, from the Latinx community, the Black community, the gay community, all of the different ones coming together to kind of share their voice about how to engage with music in a musical theatre setting. So we're going to be talking to Sherry next week all about that, which is going to be really awesome and really interesting as well. So make sure you tune in next week at 6 p.m. and we'll see you all later. Take care, everybody.